All right, sounds good. So thank you guys for coming out, weathering the wind, right? If it was, I haven't been outside in a couple of hours, but when we first got here, I had to hold on to everything I owned to, to get in here. Is it still that windy outside right now?
Yeah, a little bit. It's cold. What little it is cold.
It's cold. Oh my God. I felt like I was in the plains somewhere, but yeah, exactly, Wyoming. But yeah, so thanks. I mean, how many of you have heard me speak before? Yeah. So we, absolutely, yeah. So so it's good to be back. It's been a few years, so it's good to be back and good to be invited back. That means that I'm saying something that you want to hear, right? Like you're bringing me back, and I appreciate that. Appreciate Deborah. Appreciate Parents Challenge, and if you guys really enjoyed the food, you please give my wife another round of applause for that stuff. If you didn't get one of the ooey gooey cakes, you're wrong. Like you're wrong. If
Actually, they weren't really that good. So if you guys avoid them, then I'll just take them and I'll take them home and save you all
the trouble,
heartache of
yep,
having to eat them.
of being disappointed. But they are that good. They're the kind of thing that makes you think about it on the drive home. Like, what was that? So I think there's about 4, 5, or 6 or 7 left over there. So make sure you get some. We have expanded into Colorado Springs. First of all, I like this format, right? We're all sitting down, we're chilling, everybody's on the same level. But we've expanded into Colorado Springs. For those of you who know my work, we've been in Denver, primarily in Colorado, but we've always had presence in other states. We got presence in 7 other states, as Deborah mentioned, but we've been lucky enough to get funding to come down to Colorado Springs, and so now we're in the Springs. We're in District 11, but we're going to expand into other places as well, right? So if you've appreciated what we've done over the past years with you guys, and you think that this organization represents young men the right way, then there's some flyers over there. There's a few different programs. One is our Empowered Ambition Youth Development Program, and this is a program that we work directly in schools with boys. Schools will select young men who maybe need a mentor, a little extra push, some guidance, some leadership, and then they'll put them in our program, and we'll have them for 18 weeks. We'll do student voice stuff, student leadership stuff, developing social emotional learning skills. We introduce the young men to financial literacy so they understand, banking and savings and investing, but also the arts. So we're developing this partnership right now with Colorado College. Is that what it is? Colorado College? So we're developing a partnership with them in order to expose them to the arts, theater, all that kind of stuff as well. So we are here now, and we are continuing to expand here and also into Pueblo. But those programs are over there. If you, young men, are interested in just having a mentor, or if some of you are interested in mentoring young men, we have programs that you can be a mentor, or you can get mentored. It could be like this face-to-face mentor type stuff. There's an online version as well for people who still like want to keep distance. So there's an online version as well. Those flyers are over there as well. And we also have this program called Fail Man Leadership Academy, and this is when we partner with industries and we introduce the young men to careers in aviation and in STEM, oil and gas, arts, culinary arts. So we introduce the young men to those fields so that they can get a head start. So we also have partnership like First Tee Golf, so we teach them how to play golf and those kind of things as well. I love golf, so that had to be a part of that. But that's that. And because we are expanding, we are looking for empowerment coaches. So if you know someone, someone who's really good with young men, with boys, we have some positions that we're going to be hiring for here in the Springs. Those positions pay $30 an hour. $30 an hour. So that's nothing to sneeze at, right? So it's $30 an hour. And we always need mentors. So if you want to be a mentor, these forms are over there, and you can select one. You can pull one up, put your information on it, and say either I would like to mentor a young man, I would like to be included on the email list, or learn more about mentorships. So, or I want a mentor, right? So these forms are over there as well. So, any questions about any of that?
On your mentoring of young men, do you work one-on-one with the same person, the same young man all the time, or more than one?
Yeah, the mentors commit to a year.
When
1 year, so they'll have that same mentor for a year, whether it's the online platform or whether it's the in-person platform. But it'll be the same person for a year unless the relationship breaks, and then we'll figure out why it broke, and we'll see if we need to put a new mentor with a new mentee. Like we'll figure it out. Yep. So tonight is about the book. So the book is called Hey Man, We Just Talking, and it's a book that I wrote that came out last year, and it's done almost 4,000 copies, just in the pandemic alone, which means that it's resonating with a lot of people. And it's a book about mentorship. It's the book that I wanted when I grew up. It's the book that I needed when I grew up. It was the stories that I needed to hear from people about growing up and being a young man, and some of the topics that we talk about, we struggle with. For example, tonight we're going to talk about your perception of you being special. Like, do you think you're special? And if so, why? Like what makes you special? Unfortunately, all right, a lot of the world tells us as men, young men too, that you're not. Like, there's a lot of things that are on TV that highlights all of the deficits about boys, and the violence that comes out. Like, all those things happen, and so people think that and then us ourselves start to internalize that maybe we're not special. Maybe we haven't heard it enough, right? Think about my life growing up. I think some of you know this. Growing up, I've been shot twice by my mom. Still got the bullet holes to prove it. Mom shot me. She was a drug addict. She was just in a drug-induced fit, and I've been shot twice. Like that. Like the person who's supposed to love me the most and show me how to love others hurt me. I could have at that point said, I'm not special at all, and I could have quit. A lot of folks do. I could have quit, but it was teachers, it was other folks who showed me something different, right? And when I knew different, then I did different, right? And I've always wanted to be that person for other people, right? For other boys. Maybe there's something going on in your life where you don't think you're special, right? But we're going to talk about that tonight. So hopefully, like the 6th, 7th, and 8th graders were very engaging. So you guys got a lot of, you got some big shoes to step into for us to have this conversation. So hopefully you feel safe enough to have a conversation with me at some level. And if it gets deeper, it gets deeper. We have some good deep stuff come out with the 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. So that's one topic, is about being special. The second one is perspectives on love. And the reason why I picked that is because as young men, like, sometimes love can be this mushy thing to us that we kind of not talk about, right? But tonight, what I want to talk about is loving yourself. Like, how do you show yourself love, right? What do you do when you think about that topic of love? How do you show yourself love? So we'll talk about that, and then we're going to talk about this idea of pushing through, right? That means that you have bad days or bad moments or something that's happened in your life, but you got to still be able to push through. And for you who are older, right, who are in high school, like, you're a lot closer to graduating and going out and having responsibilities and those things where you're going to have to push through. Like, there's going to be more times in life to where you're going to have bad days. I can guarantee it. And you look at your parents, they'll tell you too, bad days come. And they don't always come because of something you did. It could come and find you, but what are you going to do? You're going to cower, you're going to get in the corner, you're not going to do anything. So we're going to talk about pushing through, and that's important, right? And the last thing we're going to talk about may seem a little grim to some people, but I think it's important. It's death and your legacy. It's death and your legacy. It's, what do you want to be known for, right? So much going on around the world, man, that, you never know what could happen, but what do you want to be known for? Because what's important about that is that whatever you want to be known for tomorrow, 10 years from now, or when you die, like, you got to start walking that out right now. You can't say, I want to be known as a nice person, and all of a sudden something happened, and you've been mean to people the entire time. Like, now you can't, at the funeral, can't be, he was a nice person, because they're lying, right? So what do you do to walk it out every day, right? I think about my own life, and what I said is I want to be someone who was known for leaving the world better than I found it. Also want to be known for someone who, gave back to young men, be a great father and a great husband. Well, I got to start walking that out now. Like, so you have to do those things very, very intentionally, right? So we'll talk about that. I'll ask you some questions about it. But I'll start off every one of these sections by reading off what I wrote, what I wrote in the book. Then I ask you some questions about it, all right? You guys were sent, I think, the first chapter, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So the one that you are special. So did you read it? You didn't read it. Thanks for being honest about that. Did you read it? You didn't read it either? Did you read it? No? Did you read it? Did you read it? No? No read?
I don't think the guys,
We're,
we couldn't bring it up on my phone.
technologically challenged, and we had trouble.
Yeah.
We couldn't bring it up, we tried.
Well, we're gonna read it tonight. Well, I'm gonna read it. We're gonna talk about it, and I think you'll get a copy of the book so you can read it again. All right. So the first one is you are special. So I'm gonna read it, and then we're gonna ask you some questions. So it goes, hey man, I just want to take some time out to let you know how special you are. It's absolutely an honor to be a young man. You have the honor of being the head of your household, the king, a leader in your community, and noticed by all as you walk in your maleness. As men, we are special beings. We are usually looked to for leadership, wisdom, guidance, provision, protection. Even the Bible talks about us being the primary sex in the chambers of the government. Your mother looks at you to be the male figure in the house, even if your father is still there with you, because men take care of their home, their mothers, their siblings, their responsibilities. So I just wanted to take some time out to encourage you today to walk in being the best leader that you can. Take some time out to make the best decisions for yourself and the people around you. Your future depends on it. Now go have an unapologetically amazing day. And remember, we're just talking. So when I think about being special, as I mentioned to you earlier, the way I grew up, like that was everything that was happening in my life that told me the opposite of me being special. Like me being special doesn't warrant someone putting 2 bullets in me, especially moms. If that happened to you, like would you feel that you were special? The question is probably no. I don't feel like I'm special, right? Would you feel like you're special?
I'm not sure.
You're not sure. That's a good.
If I would feel special if you were to shoot me or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't feel special. Would you feel special? No. Would you feel special? Not at all.
In a bad way.
In a bad way. Say more about that.
Because, I mean, you're the one that got shot, not someone next to you.
Wow. That's a different way of looking at it. Okay. All right. So the first question I have for you is that do you think you are special, and what does that mean to you? What about you? What's your name, sir? Asher. What about, I know your name. What about you, Asher?
He's not in high school.
No, it's okay. You're here, though. So, I mean, you get the same treatment. Asher, what makes you, that's the question I want you to think about. I don't want you to answer yet, but what makes you feel special, Asher, as a boy in your family, in your community? Like, do you think you're special?
Yes.
Do you think you're special? Okay. So what I want you to think about is, why do you feel that way? I'm going to ask you why you feel that you feel special, and then we're going to talk about it. Okay? I'm going to give you 10 seconds to think about why you feel special. Does that recognize the Jeopardy thing? All right. Asher, why do you feel special?
Because God created us in His image.
Because God created us in His image. Absolutely. That's why you feel special, right, Asher? All right, cool.
Those people that rely on me.
Because people what? Rely on. What grade are you in?
11th.
People rely on you. Absolutely. That does make you special.
Because I was brought into this earth.
Because you were brought into this earth. Absolutely. There's a lot of folks who weren't they? Yeah.
Because people count on me to be a leader. I
Yep.
was in my school, I'm in the military academy, so everyone kind of looks up to what I have to say.
Oh, wow. What's your rank?
Master Sergeant.
Wow, are you going to go to the military after you leave? Yeah. I was in RTC, and I was in the military. I was a captain in the Army. Yeah, it's all right.
I was hardly based on Civil Air Patrol, so I can go into the military as an E3 after I hit second lieutenant.
Good stuff. And that's what you want to do? Good stuff. That's definitely a reason to feel special, because you know people listen to you. You already know that. What about you? Why do you feel special, sir?
People respect me.
People respect you. Good, good. And those are good reasons to feel special. What I'm sensing right here, that none of you are hanging your head low and feeling like that you're not special. Like there's not something that somebody has told you that you are not special, right? The truth is that you are. And you can't be ashamed of that. That's not being vain. That's just knowing your worth, knowing that you are a special person. What's important about that is that if you truly believe that you're special, then you will not only treat others right, but you'll treat yourself right. You'll show yourself some love, right? That's what it means to be special. Do you think that you're special to your family?
Yes.
You do? How, in what ways? What would be missing if you were missing?
A brother.
A brother?
Yes.
That's a great reason to feel special. Because is your brother older or younger?
Older?
He's older?
No. No. I have a younger brother and 2 sisters.
Are y'all cool? Do y'all fight?
What?
Are y'all fight or are y'all cool?
Sometimes.
Do you like them?
I do.
Okay. Because some brothers and sisters don't always like each other. So, well, good. Yeah. So if something happened to you, then they would feel like they're missing something.
Yes.
It's a good way to feel special.
I guess somebody to come to and people.
You have brothers and sisters as well? Right there. There it is. Do you feel special in his life? You think he's special?
Yes, you do.
Do you think he's special? There you go. Absolutely. Well, good stuff. So the next question is, well, you said that. Give me thumbs up if you have friends or if you've been around other young men who don't feel like they're special. Okay. Why did they not feel like they're special? You ain't got to say their name. You got to say Jared said, but you know.
Somebody just made them feel like they're worthless, and just.
Did you do anything to? What did you do to make them? Do they still feel like that?
No.
Okay. Did you do anything? Did you like intervene at all and say anything to them? Like, what did you do?
We ended up getting together as a group and going to IHOP and going and taking them out to go hiking and all that. So,
And they're in a much better place right now. Yeah.
Just sat down, talked to them.
And he's good. Yeah. See, people don't think teenagers do that kind of stuff anymore, right? People think people are selfish. What about you with that kid? Tell me about this kid.
For which one?
The one who said that you know someone who doesn't feel like they're special or didn't feel like they were special.
One of my friends, it's because at school everyone kind of, intentionally goes out of their way to make it stay a little bit worse.
Really?
Actually, some of the teachers do it as well, and it's no one calls them out on it, and no one calls them out on it. No one helps them on me and him so with each other in class and stuff.
Wow. So that's what you've done. You've just personally made yourself available to him, and
I was actually texting him before he came.
is it good now? Is he in a better place?
Better, but still people going out of their way.
That's horrible. Yeah. So in that way, like you intervening and making sure that, because you know you're special, that you're working with them and making them feel good. Like that, these are good things. When we get to the part about legacy, like this is stuff that you want to leave behind. Like this is what is somebody going to say about me? These are the kind of things that you want people to be able to say about you. So kudos to you guys. Anybody else? Anybody?
Yes. Once overseas, we met some refugees who had experienced some pretty awful stuff.
On a mission trip?
Yes.
Yeah. Did you? What did you do to intervene to help them feel differently about?
Well, we couldn't speak their language, so I just played soccer with them.
That's a language, right? You made them happy by doing that. Good. All right. We got to put ourselves in the position as, here's the deal. If you don't think you are special, then you won't do what you guys are doing. Like you won't go out of your way because you know what it feels like to feel special. And don't let anybody or any world messaging or any social media or anybody feel like, make you feel like that you're not. There are people who are literally harming themselves because they can't keep up with the 5 minutes of fame that somebody has on TikTok or Instagram. And that's the only part of their life that you see the best of people on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram for that 5 minutes. Then people spend a lifetime trying to achieve them 5 minutes, right? And so, I hope you guys are not victim to any of that stuff. Do you see stuff on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and feel like that you missing something in life?
And I don't get connected to that whatsoever.
Good job. Good job. What about you? You don't have it? Yeah. So you. What about you? Are you on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram? You know, yeah. Okay. Well, don't get on it. All right. It's like drinking. Don't quit. Don't start drinking. What about you? Same.
Not really missing. No, I'm missing Series X.
What is that?
I'm a big Xbox fan.
Oh, got it. So you're not like wishing your life was better because of TikTok, Instagram, or Facebook. What about you, sir? No? No Facebook, TikTok? Okay, good. You guys are good then. You guys are good. All right.
If we took Digital Boy, then our kids wouldn't be on that stuff.
Exactly. Exactly. That's right. Digital boys, like, especially boys, right? Testosterone, the way we lean ourselves toward those kind of things. So if you read it, well, none of you read it. That's the deal. So I can't even ask this last question.
You
So.
read it to us, though. I mean, so, I got a little tension, but could I say something about when you first went around?
Yeah, and so I forgot to mention that parents, for you, I'm going to ask you questions too, so you can feel free to chime in. This is a very intimate session.
I would just like to say that I like every young man's answer to all of it because, really, especially you.
Yeah. Good. Good.
There's not enough of that in our world.
Yeah.
It's one of the things that's sadly lacking.
Yeah.
A compass, a moral compass, even if you don't want to call it God or anything like that, you have to know that there is right and wrong.
It's true.
And who is going to teach us all of that? We're going to depend on these kids to teach the following generation. And the further we get from those values, the harder it becomes to catch up because the population is growing so fast.
Yep.
And you pointed out a classic example. This world is like an amusement park with all of these things that we have. But people love to go to Disneyland, right? And do they pack up and move all their belongings there, settle up and stay there?
Yeah.
No, they just go there because they're amused for a little while. But they leave there because that's not their normal, regular.
Yeah, reality, yeah.
Yes. Just like this world, we all come in it, and we're all going to leave it. So the best we can do is.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. Special. See? You got it special. Let's move on to love. All right.
Can I say, my son could come, but he did let me bring his answers.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
So, I mean, he said that since we got ready, we're going to ask them.
So the answer, one question I had was, what stood out to you from the conversation after you read it?
He said the fact that you can be a leader in your home, no matter what the situation is, no matter what the background is, no matter what you're currently going through, whether you have a dad in the home or not, that you are a leader in the home, regardless of your station in life.
That's true. There it is. Those are good things. I mean, and you guys said some very similar things as well. So yeah, tell Drew thank you so much for contributing. I mean, he's not even here, but he's here, right? That's how special he is. Let's move on to love. All right, perspectives on love. Hey man, I just want to talk to you today about love. I'm not sure about. I'm not talking about the love between a boy and girl. I'm talking about loving yourself. I'm talking about loving yourself enough to love the fact that you're unique, that you're a boy, that you are unique. The chromosomes had to line up perfectly to produce you. Today, make it a point to show you some love. I know the whole conversation about love can sometimes be skewed and imagined as being soft, but there's nothing soft about showing love, especially to yourself. The way you carry yourself in school and in life reflects how you feel about yourself. I read this thing one time before that said the way you treat your others is a reflection of how you feel about yourself. So, how are you treating people today? Are you showing other people love because you love yourself? Are you giving others the benefit of the doubt because you give yourself the benefit of the doubt? Anyway, love yourself and love others. Remember, the world is counting on you to be a leader and of love and to show love to all. So the question I'm going to ask you is, when I say love, what comes to your mind? Like, what's like your first thing when I say love? Want me to come back? I'll come back. I'm coming back now. Knowing yourself. Okay, that's a good perspective. How you feel about something or somebody? What'd you say?
Something.
Something.
Comfort zones, basically.
Chromosomes?
Comfort zones.
Comfort zones. Wow. Okay. That's interesting. Taking care of yourself. All right. Cool.
John 3:16.
Huh?
John 3:16. You must speak up. John 3:16.
John 3:16. Got it. I got the Bible app on my phone. Let me pull it out. John 3:16. I love that.
And Drew said Jesus, so similar.
Similar. Very similar. Yeah.
That was his command to us, wasn't it?
Yeah. So when I think about love, and in particular for this topic, is that how do we love ourselves? We've mentioned, and Drew's mentioned, and we talked about how the world sometimes perceives young men in a very negative way. And so if you're not already feeling special about yourself or feeling like that you love yourself or understand what that means, then there may be parts of you that you don't like. There are people in their adult age spend a lifetime getting plastic surgery, doing all kind of stuff to change what they look like, not because they are necessarily unhappy with it, but because other people are unhappy with it. And that they can't look at themselves in the mirror and feel like, I'm good as I am. I'm good as I am. What I'm trying to get you to do is understand that what do you do to show yourself some love? You must show your own self-love all the time. What I do is that I love to play golf. It relaxes me. I love to travel, and I'm fortunate enough to have created a business to where I can travel all over the country, so I love traveling, right? And I also just love just reading and relaxing. I mean, I've written 3 books. I mean, just those kind of things, and just relaxing as much as I can when I can. Those are the things I do to show myself love, right? When I'm having a particularly hard day, when someone has said something that I don't feel like was fair, I don't lash out, and I go and show myself some love. Most mornings I wake up and I go to the hot tub and I go to the steam room. I start my day out like that. It gives me moments to just reflect, right? I'm up every morning at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning anyway, so I'm reading, I'm writing, I go to my gym, and this morning, like for the last 3 days, like I got up every morning and I went to the hot tub. I sit in the hot tub for 30 or 40 minutes, and I go spend another 30 or 40 minutes in the steam room, and I just relax, and then I go back home and I get my day started. But that's how I show myself love. So I'm gonna ask you, how do you show yourself love? What is it that you do when you're particularly having a bad day to where you show yourself love, right? We almost think about this a lot in terms of like the world encouraging women to show themselves in love, and we got to give it to women that they have the ability to create this tight circle around each other and like protect one another if something happens. I'm gonna call my girlfriend, or we're gonna come to your house, we're gonna have a wine party, but not us. Not the guys. Like we don't. Hey, bro, can you come over and holler for me for a minute? We rarely do that, but it's something that we should do. But if you don't do that, how do you show yourself love? Maybe, right? Some ladies find them showing themselves love in that group. I'm going to tap into my friends. I'm going to tap into people who pour into me. That's me showing myself love. What do? Most of the time we'll go off to ourselves and we'll end up getting into our feelings, our emotions, and it comes out in a very negative way. Next thing you know, people are hurting other folks and people dropping out of school and not doing well because we don't know how to show ourselves love, to call it that. To call it, I'm showing myself some love today, period. Like even down in the workplace, they got personal days now. I don't know where that came from, but it's here, right? I'm gonna take a personal day. When I was personal day, what does that mean? Like, now it's like it's a show yourself some love day, basically what it is, right? So what? Mental health day. We probably should have had it a long time ago, all right? But yeah, what do you do? I'm gonna give you guys 10 seconds to think about this. But what do you do to show yourself some love? I gave you an example of how I show myself love.
What would you like to do?
Yeah, like how do you, like on particularly bad days, what do you do to make yourself feel good? Like that you think, I deserve this, I'm gonna make myself feel good. I'll start with you, sir. Music. What genre of music do you like?
You would be amazed.
All kinds.
Yeah, you would go back to the 40s even.
Oh, good.
Very advanced everything. Yeah.
I love music too. So you just put your headphones on and zone out. That makes you feel some sort of way, right? Get those endorphins going. What about you, sir?
Playing like Xbox with friends.
Just competing against them. That's how you show yourself to them.
Just messing around, just doing whatever.
Okay.
Sometimes we'll just play the game just to do something stupid, like see how far we can get out of bounds type of thing.
And that just takes your mind away off of stuff. Okay? All right. What about you, sir? Work out. I can tell. So you go and pump iron. A lot of folks do that. People go work out and like they pump it out. You know, some people hit the heavy bag and like fight with the heavy bag. But working out. What about you, sir?
Music and hanging out with friends.
That's show yourself some love. You got it now? Reading. Good stuff. I love to read as well. Unfortunately, I read too much professional. Well, I don't even read fiction books, period. I read professional stuff that has to do with my work, but it still brings me great satisfaction because it's what I'm doing, but I wouldn't have thought about that. So, you like nonfiction? Yeah, absolutely. For me, if I can't apply it, it's almost like, why am I wasting my time with it? But, everybody don't feel like that. Some people like to read, fiction stuff. That's how Harry Potter got very rich. So that's how. What's her name? Who did it? Yeah. Yep. She tapped into that market. So, but that's showing yourself some love, and so, yeah. So that was it. So we went through the whole thing about love. I want the parents to think about this. I want you to be an example for the young men. How do you show yourself some love? What do you do?
Go to the well.
Go to the well.
It's a hot springs.
I
It's
ju-
my thing. I love hot springs.
I just heard about the well. I'm gonna talk to you about that. I just heard about it. Because we like to go to hot springs as well, but I just heard about that one.
Well, it's a quick fix. It's only 30 minutes away.
Yeah. Yep.
Or I sit in my jacuzzi, but it's still not the same as the well.
Okay.
Because that's natural mineral water.
Yep. I love. See, hot tub. Anybody else?
I craft.
Craft. Like.
I just renovated the bathroom,
Oh wow.
like, whatever I can get my hands on. I love to learn, so.
This is true. You vouch for? What else? Anybody else?
There's a specific single mother luncheon that I go to every month, and I just make sure whatever's coming out that I will go to that each month, and I get to be around my friends and encourage them, and like encouraging others really sparks me.
Yep.
And so I get to be around people that I can encourage in turn. I'm encouraged by them and their stories and by subjects that we're tackling. Drew had a really hard time around the concept of loving himself. He's like, well, that's selfish, that's weird. So I had to reframe the question.
What did you say?
And I said, how do you show care for yourself?
Okay.
And then he said he would hike a 14er, he would make the most of opportunities, and that would make him grateful.
See, guys sometimes have this mental block with the word love. And I honestly think, and I said this earlier, is that, and this is part of the work that we do too, is that we help boys think through and thought partner with wrapping the acceptance of emotions, right? A lot of times, especially in my community, in the black community, our definition of masculinity has little to do with emotions. It's about, hey, why are you crying? Quit crying. I'm gonna give you something to cry for. Put your chest out. Don't let people see you cry. And you can't embrace your emotions, and it just starts with that. And then every other emotion after that, just like you can forget about it. Love, caring, put my arm around you. We challenge dads to, how many of you dads go out to your sons and say, I love you, or you're special? We had a parent earlier who said he struggled with it for a long time, like he struggled with it, even though he wanted to say it. He missed the moment, right? But it was something that once it was said, then it was powerful, right? But love is that concept, and so we have to change the words called love to care. And some people may think Drew might think is very selfish, but the concept that you told him is the exact right concept. How do you show self-care? A lot of times we're so busy trying to take care of others and help others that we miss it for ourselves, right? And for us to grow into be healthy men, healthy young men, healthy people, we got to be able to take care of ourselves and show ourselves some love. Okay, and I wanted to introduce. I'm gonna come back to you. I wanted to introduce this concept because I needed you as a young man to like wrap your mind around that concept that, you know, there's this thing called love and there's this thing called self-love that you're gonna need once you get into the world. Once you graduate, you go out into the world, you're gonna need to know how to love on yourself because the world won't always do it. Yes, sir.
So in English at school, reading a book called Things Fall Apart by Chinua
I know that book.
Achebe.
Yeah, I know that book.
This is a good one for this because it talks a lot about Okonkwo, the main character, how he has to suppress his emotions because he's the strong man in his village. Everyone looks up to him. His children look up to him, but at the same time, he's trying to just be the opposite of his father because his father is very sensitive and shows his feelings and like no titles type of thing. Because in the village, like in the villages in their culture, it was a title. If you didn't have a title, you were basically nothing. They didn't look up to you. And there was a certain point where he was forced to kill his son, but he was told to take no part. So it kind of, he went back to his house and he felt very, 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 very bad, but he wasn't allowed to cry because his entire life he was spent trying to be the opposite of that.
Yep.
He was trying to go against it, and when his children would cry, he would be, very against it.
And that's an excellent book. I'm really glad that you're reading that book. I think about, like, earlier when I was talking, I almost started crying because I started thinking about my teacher name is Raspberry and how she made me feel. You had a teacher name is Raspberry? Oh, my teacher name is Raspberry, and how she made me feel, and how you can, this idea of love or feelings, like you can remember every teacher in your school time career that made you feel special. Like there's this one teacher that you know for me is Miss Raspberry. Who is it for you?
Mr. Davis. I'm not sure.
Mr. Davis.
Guess it's Coach Fine.
So if it's not a teacher, what about a person? Anybody? Just make you like I'm never gonna forget this person. They made me feel really good. Your family, okay. So it was Miss Raspberry for me. It was someone. What about you? Miss who?
Armstrong.
Miss Armstrong. So there's always this person that makes you feel this way, but it's hard for us as boys to categorize that, to say that they make me feel this way because testosterone, we're action oriented, right? And so I thought it's just really important for you to do that. I almost cried earlier because I started thinking about Miss Raspberry, and there used to be a time where I didn't cry. And it was very unhealthy. What happens is that you'll grow up and you'll start to not know how to deal with these emotions that come up, and unfortunately sometimes they come out in a very negative way. Like you'll see stuff happen on violence in schools, people getting suspended and those things. But if we can wrap our minds around emotions, and especially the idea of love, then we're able to handle it a lot better when it comes to us. Did you have anything else to say on that?
Yeah, Drew, even though he had a hard time with the concept of loving himself, he has not a hard time with showing love to others. He's constantly coming up to me, giving me bear hugs, even when we're at dinner and I'm like, okay, hang on. But most of the time it's like, no, he's just a very loving kid. And there was one night in particular that I purposely was going to bed earlier than I normally do. And he was like, wait a minute, what are you doing? Because usually I'm sitting next to him as he's finishing his homework, and he loves that time. He can ask me anything he wants to during that time. And I just said, well, I've got to get up early tomorrow, and I've got a full day, and I just really want to go to bed early. He's like, okay, go ahead. But then a half an hour later, he was in my room talking to me. And he was kind of doing it in a way that at first I thought, what is he doing? And then I just asked him, I said, hey, what you doing? And he goes, I just really need to talk. And he, revealed some things that were deep inside of him that I would have missed. And so I'm glad that even though he doesn't know always the concept, he puts it into practice. He's able to do that. He's able to show love. He's able to say, I need a little bit of your love.
Of attention, yeah. That's good. That's very healthy. I mean, Drew's That's very healthy. So I'm glad that you're encouraging that. I'm sure that it had to come from, an example.
It's our relationship. Since he was really little, the way we would talk is we would throw a baseball back and forth in the front yard. If it was 6 in the morning and he wanted to get me up at 6 in the morning, we'd throw a baseball in the front yard at 6 in the morning. If it was 6 at night and dinner had to wait, 15 minutes, that's what we do. And I think for me, it's been challenging because there's not another man at home. It's been challenging to learn how to love a boy in his language, but it's not all that challenging because they need the same thing that we as women need. They're just not always going to express it the same way.
Yeah. That's good stuff. You guys have a good home. The next thing I want to talk about is pushing through, right? This is, we have bad days. We have days where we feel like if somebody else say one more thing to me, right, it's going to be all bad. Or maybe we've had a bad argument with parents leaving home, or maybe we've had a bad conversation or argument with a friend or a girlfriend or whatever it is, right? But you got to figure out a way to be successful and push through that day. You can't let that derail you, right? So it's how do I push through? So this session says, hey man, there will be days when you just don't feel like being the man that you know you are. They can start off well, but something can trigger us and just throw the rest of your day off, right? The mood changes and the day can be very difficult in general. That's why today's conversation is about pushing through. Say it with your chest, pushing through, right? On days like this, you'll find yourself treating people horribly, potentially disrespectfully, or not good as you know you're supposed to, and potentially harming a relationship that you value. The question is, what do you do during those hard days? Do you hide and not go out into the world? Do you let people have it just because you're having a bad day? Or do you dig deep and work against the negative feelings and emotions that you are having? My hope is that you dig deep and recapture the man that you know you are. Emotions are temporary, and they sometimes make you think something is happening when it's actually not. They can make you think that someone is looking at you or talking about you when they're actually not. They can make you think that a situation is far worse than it is when it's actually not. So if today is one of those days for you, I challenge you to dig deep and be the person that you know for yourself and for those around you who may be looking to you. So go have an unapologetically amazing day, and remember, we're just talking. So when I think about, like I told you, I've been shot by my mom twice, and needless to say, that was a bad day, right? That spurred a lot of negative emotions throughout my life that I've had more bad days than I would have liked to have had from an emotional and a mental spot. It took something for me to get past that, to get through that, and luckily I worked through that before I finished high school. But now what I do, right, when I'm having a particularly tough day and I need to push through, like I've learned how to manage my emotions around it, how to separate myself from what's happening, especially if it's something that I didn't cause, how to separate myself and look at it objectively and say, okay, this is producing emotions and I need to deal with these emotions, but I still have things to do. I still have people relying on me that I know and people who I don't know. And so I got to figure out do I need to shut down today? Do I need to shut down? Get back to the hot tub, right? But these are things that I've learned to do, but it helps me to push through and don't lash out in a negative way or in a way that's going to harm someone else or make the situation worse. So the question I have for you is, when you have these particularly rough days and you know you need to push through, how do you push yourself through? What's the time that you had in your life you say, okay, this is a perfect example of when it was a difficult time, and this is what I did to push through if you were successful. But even if you weren't successful, then maybe you'll say, if I had a chance to go back to do this, this is what I would do, right? There are a lot of people who didn't make the right decisions who are now in jail, locked up. Some people are unfortunately not with us anymore because they made the wrong decision. They reacted and didn't push through in a very healthy way, right? There are some people who are still suffering from decisions that they made way back in the day and they didn't push through, and they're dealing with it right now. Maybe it's someone who has to always report why something is on their criminal report when they go to get a job. It was a bad decision that they just didn't push through in a very healthy way, right? But they're no longer that person that was something in the moment. So I want you to think about something that you've had to push through. It could be something in the past, it could be something recently. How did you push through it? And is that something that you've learned that moving forward as you continue to grow into manhood that, okay, I know how to push through something? Because days are going to, I mean, you're going to have those days. And you got to continue to be able to be successful and live. So.
I guess just knowing that it's not gonna go on forever.
Do you have something that has happened that you feel pretty good about how you push through it? You don't have to give names or whatever. You just say, hey, fell off my bike or something, whatever.
I guess just
What have you found, so in that moment, what have you found that works for you to help push through?
I guess just doing something that I'm comfortable with.
Okay. And then you mentioned at first, like knowing that it's not going to last forever. Like this is something that's good to realize. Like, look, I got to push through. This is not going to last forever, unless it does. No. What about you, sir? What do you do to push through? Like, what is something happened in your life that has shown you what you need to do to push through something hard?
I worked it out.
What do you mean by that? Give me an example, if you can.
If I can face the problem instead of running away from it.
Yep.
Stuff like that. So
That's a good character to have because some people will try to ignore it, right? Think it's going to go away, and it usually gets worse. So, okay. What about you, sir?
So, are we talking like mentally or physically?
Either one.
Both.
Both.
It's not a mixture, but I had a UC test for my right brother's achievements. So, it's for school, if you don't pass your achievements and stuff, you actually get a lower grade, they drop your grade. So we don't actually have like a track. Our school is like new. So I rolled my ankle when I was running for the mile, and that was in the first lap, so I had to complete 3 more laps to complete the mile for my test, and then I had to do the push-ups test, then the sit-ups and everything, and I kind of had to keep going, otherwise my grade would have dropped, because they drop you 100 points if you don't do it.
So what made you continue to push through?
First is I told my mom I was promoting, I didn't want to disappoint her, so I did that and also kind of did it for myself because I didn't want my grade to drop.
Yep.
Because I've been trying to keep my grades up. And it's an improvement from middle school because now I have a 3.75, then I had a 3.1.
Yeah. So you use something external to what was going on to help push you through. Yeah. I mean that's a good thing to have. I mean there was a guy earlier when we were here. He was saying that something had happened to him really bad, and one of the reasons why he pushed through is that he thought about his kids. Right? He thought about he wanted to be there for his sons, and so it's like that external thing helped push him through, and I imagine that it has helped push him through in other situations as well. What about you, sir? And you don't have to give an example right now, but just, okay, what do you do when days are particularly hard that you got to get through? How do you get through the day?
I just think about when it will be done.
Think about what?
Like when it will be done.
Oh, sort of like, it's like, you know it's not going to last forever. Yeah, good stuff.
When we were moving back to America and didn't have any friends or anything.
Okay. How did you get through that?
Just
Just waited?
yes.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a good. I'm just gonna wait. Things are gonna happen. All right. Cool. Have you had just any tough times since you've been back here where you like, this is a tough day and I gotta get through this day, and you did something to help that day work for you?
Not that I can think of.
That's good. All right. Well, I'm telling you that there will be days, right, to where you're not feeling well, either physically or mentally or something, and somebody said something and it's like you don't agree with it, and you're going to have to just push through, be the better person, and like figure out how to be successful for that day. So hopefully I'll be around you for a few more years and I can come back and ask you. All right. What about parents? You guys want to give an example? What did Drew say?
Drew said hiking a 14er when he'd never hiked one before, and he was hiking with a friend that was very physically fit and training for football and all of that. So he said he got through it by believing that he could, by keeping up with his friend, and making sure that he didn't let his friend down, but also like there was an internal drive in him. He's always wanted to hike a 14er, and he wasn't going to let himself, I guess, fail.
Drew should be teaching this class. Drew should be writing the book. I know. Any parent, anybody else, like an example to young men about how you've pushed through? Because I know as adults, like every day is not rosy.
How about a prayer? Gives you strength.
Okay. Prayers push you through, absolutely.
Goal setting. So on those bad days, you can look and say, okay, there was my short-term goals, and look, they're behind me, and there's my long-term goals, and look how close I am. I can just keep going.
Yep. Yep.
It's important to visualize your dreams and aspirations.
That's true. And what's important, I mean, what's the main takeaway from this section for the boys is that, you know, I just see so, in the work that I do, and I talk to boys around the country, I just see so many young men giving up, especially in secondary school, like in high school. No, I mean, even it starts back in the middle school. Just give up. People don't encourage you. People don't, try to, believe in you. Most time people are scared of you, right? Don't want to talk to you, or feel, maybe your size is intimidating. But the message is that, you're going to have those tough days, and you got to be able to push through in a very positive way. Positive way, right? Think about, I run an organization, and there are days when, employees may do something, or they may quit, or they may do something that a school calls me for. I mean, and it gets tough because, now their problem is my problem. It gets really, really tough. And Joy will tell you, like, I have these moments to where I'm just like, oh my God, I can't. But that happens in business. And if I was to succumb in a very negative way the entire time, then I wouldn't have this organization, this company, right? So you have to learn how to push through it. Just don't give up, all right? And the last thing that we're going to talk about tonight is death in your legacy, all right? And I want to death in your legacy. And I wanted to, this was important because when I asked you the question, what do you want to be remembered for when it's all done? You can't start thinking about that when it's all done. like you have to be able to start walking this out right now. So if you say that, this is how I love on myself, I know that I'm special, this is how I push through, like all those things contribute to your long-lasting story, because every one of those things has an output, a manifestation. If you don't feel special about yourself, then you'll end up doing things that people will know he don't feel special about himself. If you don't know how to push through, maybe you give up and you quit or something, then people say that's, they'll assign that to you and your character, which could impact your legacy, right? If you don't know this idea about love and wrapping yourself, understanding emotions, then you'll come across as, very gruff, buff, maybe not showing emotions to yourself or to your kids or to your family. And then that's going to, that'll be part of your legacy. So in the end, what do you want to be known for? And I think I told you guys, I told you from the beginning what mine is. And so I don't think it's too early to start thinking about that stuff. I don't think it's to a point you start thinking about, okay, if you can understand the concept, then I think it's cool to start thinking about it. I wouldn't be having this conversation with a first grader. They may not even understand the concept of it. But if you can understand the concept of, when it's all said and done and someone is standing over me talking about me, well, what would I like for them to be able to say? That's true, because a lot of folks be lying at funerals sometimes, okay? So this death in your legacy says, hey man, today I want to talk to you about death and legacy. Last night, and I only write when I'm feeling it, so this is true. Last night was a very rough night for me. And I tossed and turned and hardly got any sleep because I was dreaming about death. Yes, death. I know it's not a subject that many people want to talk about, but it's an inevitable part of living. One day we will all leave this earth and go to another place. It had me reflecting on my place in the world and what kind of legacy I wanted to leave behind. It forced me to think about who I am as a man and who I wanted to be remembered as. I'm not asking you to start thinking about death, but I am asking you to start thinking about what kind of legacy you would like to leave as a man in this world. Will it be a legacy of violence, bad decisions, irresponsibility, running away from your problems, or will it be a legacy of responsibility, being a great friend, a great father, having done your best in school and in life, and leaving a legacy of helping people? Right? I want you to think about that today and view every action that you take and every conversation that you have from that lens. Ask yourself, did what I just do add to or subtract to the legacy I want to live? Did what I just say add to or subtract to the legacy that I want to leave? Thinking about life in this sort of way is like making a will. Most people do not think about wills because most people don't think about death, or they think it's too far away, or it's not relevant right now. The truth is that we must all think about these moments in our lives and what we want people to say, to remember us by. I know it's a heavy conversation, but it's one that's really needed. So have an unapologetically amazing day. Remember, we just talking. So the question I have for you is, what do you want to be? What do you want people to say about you? You know, when the lights go out. I'll give you a couple seconds to think about it. Maybe you hadn't thought about it. Maybe it's the first time you thought about it, right? There are some adults who hadn't thought about this. Sometimes it can be uncomfortable. But the reason why it's important is because it helps guide your footsteps right now. It helps you to think about what your roadmap is going to be like right now. That's why this is important. So, what do you want your legacy to be? Known for helping people? Okay.
Being positive, I guess.
Being positive? What?
And then everyone will be like, oh wow, the negative person's gone.
Good perspective. What did Drew say?
He, first answer was, I loved baseball.
Okay.
Which is absolutely true.
Yeah.
And then the second one is, I pushed through.
All right.
How is it remembered as someone who helped people, whether in the community, household, or nation?
Okay.
Something close to what he said is somebody who taught somebody something that ended up leading to more people being helped.
Love that. Sort of what I'm doing. I like that. What about you?
That when I died, they'd be able to say that he glorified God in everything he did and stuff.
Oh, wow. I love that. I love that.
He added on to something I was going to think about and forgot. Like I was going to say it and I forgot. So the fact that I wanted to leave like saying that I've helped people instead of like, you know, negatively affecting people. Because like every Tuesday I volunteer at a food pantry and I've already fed over like 1,000.
Like right now, you do that every Tuesday?
Yeah, every Tuesday.
Okay.
It's like over 1,000 people, so that's like, because when me and Gabe were younger, we didn't have a lot of money. My mom worked in 3 jobs, so getting them all of the stuff that we know, just helping out, that little push helps, because my mom always doing stuff like that as well.
Yep.
And just, I saw the impact of it, and just the small little things like helping the pantry put some stuff on shelves helps out a lot.
That is good stuff. Joy and I, we always feed, you know, our neighbors who are less fortunate and the people who we come across who are less fortunate. One of the things that I really appreciate from my mom, you know, is that through it all, she taught us to be benevolent to other people and help people, and we would go out and then you know, she would cook extra food. We would go out and feed people who were in the neighborhood and people who are on drugs. Is where I learned actually that everybody has a story. Like some people will throw people away. Like you drive through to the red light, you see people on the road, they're begging, you know, for food or whatever, and you think, why don't you just get a job? But people have a story. Something has happened, and it was in that moment, being around those kind of people, that I learned that, oh wow, you were laid off from a job, and you were always living one check from, you know, check to check. And you couldn't rebound from this, or like people still had stories, and they still had dreams, and they still had goals, and that's one reason why we do what we do even now. So that's even part of your legacy as well. But the point I wanted to reiterate from this perspective, from this chapter, this conversation, was you have to, if you want to make that a reality tomorrow, you have to start walking it today. That's the real truth. You got to start walking today. Did what I just say to my mom or what I just say to my friend, did that help? Is that leading to my legacy, or is that taken away from my legacy? Right? Did what I just do for or against my neighbor, right? Like literally your neighbor, right? I saw them drop something out of the car. I could have went up and said, hey, can hey, you drop this? Like, is that adding to, or is that taken away from who you are and your legacy? And your legacy doesn't have to be something that's final. Like maybe you've lived next to people for 15 or 20 years, and all of a sudden you move, you left a legacy there. Like you leave a school, you graduate, there's a legacy there. They're going to remember you from what you're doing. When you leave Parents Challenge, there's a legacy there. What can Deborah say about you, your family, and what you've done as a part of this organization? That's a legacy as well, right? But always thinking about that is what keeps me on my toes, right? It put me in a position to where I'm always proactive and not relaxing so much, because I know that people are watching even when you don't think they're watching. So, legacy. I appreciate you too. So as a token of my appreciation for you guys who are here, tell Drew I'll get him one if he wants one.